You're listening to Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official podcast of Lingerie Fighting Championships. And now, here's your host, Michael Larkin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships podcast. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me tonight is an LFC prospect. There's amazing talent in her own right, Miss Farah Fatherless. Farah, it's a pleasure and a privilege. How are you?
Great to meet you. Doing fine. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. First and foremost, I am so glad to have you on the show with me. We're going to encompass a lot in today's program at Lingerie Fighting Championships, and you do your own thing as well with the cosplay and forefront. I got to say, I dig what you're doing on all forms of social media.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you checked out my stuff. I'm rebuilding after like a massive platforms-wide ban.
Hey, that's what happens, unfortunately, in today's day and age. I think with everything that goes on the social media front, sometimes we do have to desensitize ourselves from it. But at the end of the day, it's a great promotional tool on the positive side. But then the negative, you just get the bullshit compliments and the friggin' arguments and stuff. It's so ridiculous on what gets censored now.
Surprisingly, that stuff never happened to me. I barely ever got hate. I think I got like troll comments twice, and like the time it took me to make like 32,000 followers on TikTok, which was like 4 months of being on TikTok, and then my account went down because the algorithms pick up on bullshit and think it's something else because it's so the algorithm's like a rusty spoon, but trying to cut like steak with it that's still raw. It's just terrible.
Well, I gotta say, but what you're doing on the TikTok front, I mean, it's just you showcasing yourself, having some fun, doing your thing on the roller skates as well. So I think you provide a lot of great content and stuff that a lot of people can relate to, but also really showcase that spontaneity with it.
Yeah, honest to God, my TikTok's just me fucking around for just making videos that my friends can laugh at, and I make them on TikTok because the editing tool's fun, and then I send them to all my perverted friends, and they like really like more people laugh off TikTok about my shit than on it. But I'm hoping to change that, and you guys can join in on my like weird shit that I've been doing. I had to delete a bunch of videos, but I'll get them back.
Well, I look at it from a stance too as well. I think with what you encompass, and first of all, I love the name Farah Fatherless. Let's talk about first off how that came into fruition. Because first and foremost, F squared, you got a name like Farah. When you think of popular culture, like the Farrah Fawcett's, God rest her soul, so to speak, and then you look at the fatherless type, kind of has like that white trash but kind of cool, edgy type vibe to it. So, really, how did that name come into fruition for you? Because I got to say, I dig it, and it really sticks.
Yeah, actually, I don't know about the white trash part, but I definitely know about the trash baby doll part. And I just changed my handle on TikTok. The admin got kind of weird about me like self-deprecating, I guess, and they sent me a message saying to change it and that I would be suspended until I did. And so I had to change that today. I don't know why I'm constantly attacked for nothing. Fatherless trash. Can't have it. So now it's fatherless monster. I was like, well, I guess it's not trash, you guys. But like, I love that because I am a trash bandit, man. Like, not the raccoon kind, but like, I love all the shit that pisses people off. So just like a raccoon, I'm gonna fuck with your trash. I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm gonna fuck with you. Like when people do troll on social media, usually I catch them trolling other people, and I'll make videos making fun of them trolling little girls and shit. And I love it. Like one time before my ban, I did my metal stuff at this guy and talked about like him living with his parents, playing Warcraft in the basement and trolling little girls, and like made a little song for him and shit. Like I just love to do that. So you're right about having fun on social media. It's really all it's about. But I hope people don't take my TikTok as seriously this time because last time, like I don't even understand.
It's so interesting too, because I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have fun, and I think with everything that's going on in the world, we need to entertain ourselves while also entertaining the people. And I think it goes with that saying, like the character-wise and the character base, so to speak. If you get to amplify yourself up and be the best representation of your presentation, and you're not hurting anyone, just fucking go out there and be yourself and have fun, right?
Basically, that is the best representation of your presentation. I made a lot of mistakes with my like public careers in the past. When I say careers, I mean like careers, you know. But I made a lot of mistakes with not really being able to be myself and just taking everybody's fucking advice at every single turn and like listening to what people had to say who I thought knew more about what I was doing than I did, but they had no fucking idea what I was actually doing. So that was my mistake, jumping into like the Hollywood lifestyle initially. That was where I fucked up. So now I'm smart. I don't have like agents. I don't fuck with other people. Like I just kind of do my own thing and work with who I'm willing to work with and who's willing to work with me and build like beautiful connections, make beautiful art, make beautiful videos. You know, like I've always been obsessed with like having fun. I mean, like I'm addicted to like a fatal degree. I will get bored and then I will just break shit for fun. I actually have a bunch. I have a bunch of glass bottles filled with different colors right now of water and a couple aluminum baseball bats. I thought it was behind me. I must have moved it.
Well, I mean, that's the best thing, the spontaneity, like we mentioned before. And like, I'll go with you here because as I'm looking at you and you have we were talking about the best representation of your presentation, the cosplaying really comes into fruition. I got to say, you look good. You got the contacts, you got the vibe here. Like, it really does style and profile. And I got to say, it really does match well. No, because like with the Halloween style and just you as you, like cosplaying is such a great art form and it's such a great avenue for a lot of people to connect with.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I actually my style that I wear like every day, you've been on my social media, so you've probably noticed that actually all those pictures are actually like my day-to-day for the most part. Like this is how I dress. This would be like that's part of the reason I asked you if it was okay if I wore red eye contacts, because this is what I fetishize. Mm-hmm. And I like really love sex stuff, obviously. But you know, I have my whole life dressed as what I find attractive. So I always have found like Purple Bitch. I don't know how much porn you watch. She's my favorite. My favorite. Well, yeah, one of them. She's definitely my favorite right now, who I watch the most. It's like live human beings. Usually it's just tentacle porn, but I sometimes break down and like we'll watch real girls if they're in cosplay. And she's my favorite. You guys should check her out because it's fucking awesome. Like she's the queen of cosplay porn.
I will definitely check it out. No, I agree with you because I think, and I'll say this right now, as a male, I'm a pervert, and I mean, we all enjoy what we like from the adult entertainment side of things. Like for me, like it's funny. Like we'll touch upon this, so we're bouncing around here, but I love it because the adult side of things is we have with LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships. There's people who've done wrestling, done MMA, done adult work, adult fetish work. And when you look at the adult entertainment industry, there's many different subsets. There's many different genres of great films, like you mentioned with cosplay and what have you. So I think for me, from what I started watching when it was probably like 04, when I was 12 and seeing that image of like a Cinemax and stuff that you would see on like late at night to where we are now in the streaming.
That's what happened to me. I found porn when I was 10, the same way in my grandma's house.
Okay. Well, all right. We got to talk about this. So you're 10 years old. You're in your grandmother's house. Do you recall the film? Do you recall what you saw? What was it? Do you recall? You remember?
I got exposed like a motherfucker. I saw all that shit. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was on Skinemax though, and it wasn't exactly vanilla. It wasn't hardcore, but it was definitely an eye-opening thing. And then it led to like, and I don't think this would happen to every 10-year-old, right? Like maybe some are more sane than me, but like I'm just kind of naturally unstable as it is, kind of born this way. So when I was 10, I wasn't like, oh my God, wow, what are they doing? I was like, oh, wow. Why do they look so happy? I want to do that. And so my sister actually was the first one to catch me fucking with the porn stuff on the TV. And she knew before anybody else knew. And she was like, why are you watching this? She was like, I want to be and I was like, I want to be a film star when I grow up, dude. And I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Obviously. But there are phone stars out there, guys, if you want to give them a ring, I hear.
No, I respect the hell out of that. What I love about it too is, I mean, what's going on from like what we see on our TV screen to what we see streaming in many different avenues and platforms. I mean, with OnlyFans, like you do your thing on the OnlyFans with the cosplaying side of things, isn't it great kind of to see on that front? Like there's OnlyFans, there's many bids. Really, everything's kind of taken off from the boom with those sites, you know?
Right, dude. I just made my OnlyFans page. Like, if you look down to my first post, I've only got 50 posts so far. Like, I just made this thing like a couple months back, and I can't believe like how much traction like my photos are getting and stuff just because like the hair is blue and I'm covered in like 10 gallons of cum or something, you know, like, well, obviously that's not like a just because, but to me it kind of is.
No, I can respect that, but no, and I look at it from a stance too as well. Like you've done films. I've seen a little bit of your work from the POV side of things and the BJ.
Did you love it?
I gotta say, first and foremost, looking at your work, good stuff. I did enjoy it. You did your thing. It's quality content. So yes, I'm a fan.
I will be happy to make you a custom video sometime
I
for free on the house.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I will keep that in mind. But yeah, no, that's the great stuff of what we get to see. And I mean, from what I get to work with the LFC ladies, which we'll get here into, there's one of the things as well from the customs and everything from the lucrative side of things. There's money that goes into it and the clientele. And I think you can agree with us. As a people, we're all very unique. We all like our different preferences. So why not provide a variety and uniqueness to the people and clientele, right?
Exactly. I kind of know that, and because when it's the way people react to me, and I was like, you know what, dude, I'm just going to start dressing like this, like on camera, and like let people see that I'm just a weirdo. Like, I used to, you've seen my previous work where I was trying to look normal, and I bet you can tell the difference between like how the makeup just doesn't look right on me, and like it doesn't, because I don't know how to do it that way. I've been doing my makeup this way for a really long time, and I would like try to look younger, and all the stupid things you fall into when you're like young and insecure and first starting in porn, and you're like, oh, I need to look even younger, and I need to baby face myself and like contour this shit out and curve this and like block this out. And I was doing like all that shit, and I look like such a weirdo. And I look back on some of my old porn where I tried to go blonde, and I like I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's this one where I was with Jack Black. He's always nice to me about it, but I'm like, not it. It's so ugly. But he's like, you could never. But I'm like, oh, but I can. And I had like bleached my brows, and they looked so funny. And I always look back to that video, and I'm like, oh, I need to just not do that stuff anymore, and just like, because you know what works for you. And I had a really weird time with like trying to come out on camera. TikTok, I think, was like the first place I really started kind of being like my same nerdy self and thinking like, fuck you guys, like I don't need to get a job. I can play video games. I can be myself, and I don't need to be like this pristine, elegant bitch, and I don't have to look perfect. Like, I've been sunburned, who cares? Like, and I started to not give a shit. And now that I've come out and like been on myself, I've been a little more successful on the internet, which has been really fun. And then I wasn't ready to do LFC yet because I was still figuring myself out, I think. And on top of that, like school was a big factor. And I was really happy talking to you back in the day. Like, I was like, dude, that's something I'm going to do one day, but not right now. I'm still wobbling around like an idiot, but right. Now I've got it down.
Right. It's funny. Let's get into this. So, like, you and I spoke, geez Louise, it's been 3 years ago. Like, we were like, you were talking about wanting to do LFC, and now here we are in 2022. And I think it's great because you and I were talking about this the other day. I think it's best that, you reconnect, you do what you do, you really find yourself, and then boom, here we are. I mean, you talk about being 6'2", you're a tall son of a gun, you look good, you have the internal and external.
Where'd she go?
There you go, right? The 6. There you go.
Back in here.
Right. Like, you have, it's the size and the stature. And I think what a lot of people can relate to with a lot of the girls in LFC, you have to have that gravitational pull. And I mean, I see that with you. You do have experience. You're striking, you're kicking. So I'm glad to see you back on the LFC radar and now here doing your thing, possibly in the future here, Lingerie Fighting Championship. So, I mean, it all works out. It all comes back around, Miss Farah Fatherless.
Thank you. I was actually curious if you ever saw any of the videos from like my cage fights at Games and Games when I would do topless titty cage fights.
I remember seeing them back in the day and I liked it. And for me, like looking at that stuff and what I did enjoy as well, like you also encompass, and this also kind of takes into the adult side of things. They always used to mix like the MMA wrestling stuff with like erotic wrestling or what have you. And it mixed the best of both worlds back in the day. So you had women's erotic wrestling, women's extreme wrestling, whatever have you. So you see that, like what you were talking about there. And like it really mixes. And I think it has a nice, healthy balance between the adult world and combative sports and natures. And it really mixes. That's why I always loved about LFC, because for those that have looked at
hot.
Right? So for those that look at the slogan of LFC, it's a little bit of MMA, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of clothing. We all have 3 of those huge components right there.
I thought about, because of the slogan with a little bit of clothing, I thought about only coming in my skirt and just like keeping my hair over my boobs, but then I was like, I don't know if he'll be able to put it on YouTube if I do
that. Well, I mean, for those that have seen LFC, and I mean, one of your favorite photos, and this also ties in here, and we were talking about this the other day, it's one of the old photos from LFC 35 Booty Camp 3D. It's Bella Inc. with her pasties and all, taking on Veronica Valentine doing her thing back in
LFC. Yes. I love it.
Right. Like you were like, I remember we were talking like you were a big fan like of that photo. Like that photo
it's
really
my favorite picture.
Right. And it was her doing the old little curb stomp right in the back, little surfboard action.
Yep, pulling the arms back and just, yeah. And both of their expressions, the expressions were absolutely phenomenal, out of this world for that photograph. I mean, just the hair flying in both directions and the ponytails swinging, and this girl's beautiful lion mane just Bella just woo, mind blowing, and the pasties. It was such a good picture. It was very dynamic. I love that, and I can't wait to see like myself in that light. Not to be a narcissistic fuck ass, but hey, we all have our problems. I want to see those pics. I want to see that crazy motion, and it's so cool because I've never had any photography like that in modeling. I don't do a whole lot of high speed camera work. I'm usually just like this, like that. No, you want it? And then, oh, you mean hold that for 30 seconds? Are you fucking crazy?
Well, I mean, I look at that from a stance too as well. You actually brought something that's a great dynamic in that, from the imagery and from the standpoint. This is what I love about LFC and All Combat Matrix. It's the storytelling side of things, the expression on the face, little intricacies, little nuances that makes the image and that makes the fight. So I think you have the storytelling side of what you want to see encompassed there, and that's a huge integral part as well.
I love it. Anything in motion to me is always great. I have this fear that kind of makes motion really great for me. I have my personal crisis is that I always feel like if I'm not constantly in motion, that I'm never going to move. And so I'm always doing stuff.
We have to grind, man. And I think we always have to keep on keeping on. And I mean, for you in the stance, I mean, look at what you do, like the hentai in real life studio. We got to talk about this here because your cosplaying side of things, we'll get into your work here in a second, but I love the fact you got your studio. Let's talk about the studio because it's a badass studio. You're doing your thing, really encompassing and putting that quality content in. Talk about the studio and how all that kind of came into fruition on that front, Farah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the compliments on my studio. Actually, I'm really proud of my baby for being so brand new. I found out that people in New York who are porn producers know my studio name and don't know mine. And I was like, oh, the baby wins. Yeah. And when we first started getting into it, I just, I have the porn that I like, and I know it's not not everybody likes it, but like a lot of people do. And the people who don't like it just haven't figured it out yet. I mean, like seriously, anybody who watches the tentacle porn is going to be like, oh, I've been converted. In my mind, true believer of this, the tentacle porn philosophy. If you haven't checked it out, just check it out. If you don't like it, you can click away. Like, maybe you'll see what I mean. But some people like vanilla stuff. I just like and like it's fucking Nickelodeon. So let me do you mind if I go off camera real quick to bring in a big piece of our machinery, a big piece of our production?
Absolutely, go ahead. I'll filibuster.
I'll be right back. Let me just get my giant cum cannon.
So, folks, if you have not checked out the Hentai in Real Life Studio, check it out on Twitter. It really showcases a lot of what we get to see with her. Oh my goodness!
The tank we use for the CO2. It's for our silent cum cannon. It makes zero background noise. We have the most efficient cum cannon in the industry. It has a steady stream as well, so it's really, really great. We also have a smaller one too for portable stuff, like if we're gonna go make giant bukkake tidal wave in like the woods. Sorry for interrupting. I think you were actually talking and I just realized it.
No, you're fine. I was just filibustering while you were getting the cannon. No worries, you're fine.
So this is a piece. Let me see if I can find the cannon because our studio's in kind of in disarray right now from the move, so we don't know where anything is.
Oh, I love it. I mean, the cannon looks absolutely amazing. I think this is one of the many increments of what we get to see with your studio and the stuff you get to use. I dig it. I think that's a badass cannon.
Thank you. I wish I could find the cannon. It actually doesn't look that cool, so to describe it, it kind of actually does. It's a big fucking canister with like tubes coming out on like a giant block and then, tubage, and that's about it. So we'll just move Betty over here. That's a big Betty. This is my baby. This is what I blast the bitches in their tits with. Our next girl that we're gonna shoot, that we're working on getting down here now because we're poor little broke kids, but if anybody wanted to donate to our studio, my cash app is $gamergirlplaymate, and that will help us get plane tickets to get giant tittied bimbo Kaya out here to blast and cover those big mommy milkers in a bunch of juice, daddy.
like it. I like it a lot. But no, and I think what's great about it too as well, we got to talk about this gamer side of things here because like you and I were talking a couple of nights ago, you're doing Skyrim, you're doing a lot of games. Let's talk about the gamer side of thing here, folks, because I mean, you were talking about not giving a fuck. And I mean, as a 30-year-old, we get to our 30s, we don't give a fuck as we get older.
31.
31. Yes. So we go for the awkward stages in middle school to high school to our 30s, not giving a fuck. And what I love about it too is as well, like we talked about, there's something for everybody. The gamer side of things, it's also very attractive, very nerdy, and it really has that sex appeal in its own right because sexiness comes in different layers. Let's talk about the gaming side of things because you're big into like the Skyrims and stuff. Like, how did the gamer thing really add into it? What are like some of your favorite games on the gaming side of things, Farah?
My top three are Minecraft, Skyrim, and Genshin Impact because I like to enjoy myself more than anything. The next level is all my shooters. So like I love Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. It's one of the best, but I also consistently am one of those people who will go back to Call of Duty 2 Black Ops Zombies because I have the 3 maps memorized because when it was all the rage, all me and my friends would just sit in the living room and come up with these fucking tactics and then just repeatedly do it. So I go back to that game all the time. World of Warcraft has been a big one for like the last 15 years, I'm pretty sure. They just had another anniversary. I've been around for a lot of those. For the Horde! Actually, matter of fact, I'm pretty diehard about that game. Bit of a PC gamer myself, but I only stream console for some reason so far. I need to really figure the PC shit, like trying to configure fucking the Streamlabs OBS and all that shit just fucking pisses me off so much. Pardon my language. Jesus Christ, it makes me mad. I can't do it. I need help.
No, I feel you. And I think with me, like, and it's funny, like, I was the kid, like, you give me, like, the sports games, and then you give me, like, the wrestling games, and then you give me, like, the other stuff, like you mentioned, like, the Warcrafts and the Minecrafts, or maybe a little Grand Theft Auto. I was very mixed with my stuff, but I'm kind of more of the old school, like, give me a console, like a PS2, maybe a PS1. I know everybody upgrades and stuff, but I'm like, if I'm only going to play a few games, give me, like, the old school stuff, give me some nostalgia. So I feel you, keeping it simple, you know?
I love the nostalgia, for sure. I'm even wearing, like, a really old Sailor Moon shirt.
Oh, you see the Sailor Moon stuff, people. For those
Have to bring it back to the 80s.
Right? Oh, yes.
Check it out, dude. I even have Chibi USA.
Fucking yes. There we go. Okay.
And Lumine from Genshin Impact 2, the current favorite game. I've spent like $3,500 on that game and like probably just the last like 3 months. It's really not good. I'm addicted to a gacha game, guys. I promise. I'll do better. I actually quit spending money on it. I made a pact with myself a couple weeks ago because Genshin Impact is ran by MiHoYo, and they kind of fucked up with those of us who stream and are like psychotically obsessed with figuring out the physics and mechanics of the game. And that's why I pay money for this game, because I want to play with all the best stuff. I want to fuck with this and that, and I want to try out these new characters, and I want to get these weapons, and my fan base wants me to get these weapons and do all the events and do all this stuff. So I'm constantly like in the game, and I really love the game, and I feel like they had something so big that could have happened, but they just announced that they're not going to add in-game content at all, which it doesn't have any. They're considering this like tower situation they created called Spiral Abyss the end game, and it infuriated me. So in this interview, they were asked about like what they're going to do in the gaming industry, right? And I'm sorry, I'm getting really heated about it. I'm very passionate about this stuff because you have your fan base and you have your general base, which are just the random people who play. Most of those are free play players who they don't spend near as much as those of us who are like deep in gaming. And when you decide to go through an interview and say no to everything, like, are you guys going to include any in-game content? And they say no. Okay, well, are you guys going to add this and that? And they're like, no. Well, do you plan to fix this and that? And they're like, no. And the whole interview, dude, you can even go check it out, the MiHoYo Genshin interview. It's definitely probably a buzzing topic right now. I know I'm mad. I'm sure a lot of other gamers are mad, especially in the professional realms. And that kind of stuff. So gaming's really important to me, obviously. So that's kind of my example of like how important it is to me. That is my favorite game. It's still my favorite game, but knowing that there's not going to be any in-game content added ever for those of us who are like me, I just lost all of my motivation in the game.
I feel you. I mean, for me, like being the wrestling fan and being all the games like that have glitches and stuff that really help. That's the thing. You want to have the best quality game and put it out there, and games in general. Like you have to have the best quality for your consumers. And when you're deep into gaming, like you mentioned, you have to have that for the people. It's all about the content. It's all about the customer and the overall satisfactory aspect of it. So, I mean, I feel you. You're very passionate about gaming. I can respect that because there's a lot that goes into the craft.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a huge slap in the face when you're their most dedicated player base.
Right. But and I think that what's great about it too is as well, I mean, we see that added to your character. Now we were talking about this because when you come and do the LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship, you were thinking of a name, and we were talking about like the cosplaying, the lunatic queen, the madness, Farah the madness fatherless. Like that works. The madness. It works. I like that. I mean, what's the best part about LFC? Everybody has to
It's because of Skyrim.
I beautiful. Like I said, there's the
Did you already know?
No, I remember hearing about Skyrim like you talked about with Madness, but I'm glad that you brought this up because I wanted to actually find out more. You mentioned to it briefly.
Jeez!
Hit me.
Sorry. That's from the video game. So any of your viewer base who heard me yell, "Jeez!" That's exactly what's happening. All right. But Lord Shea Gorath is the Daedric Prince of Madness, and it's somebody I've always loved. And he reminds me of me. He's just crazy because he wants to be. And that's kind of where I've landed, where I had used to be like, oh man, I'm nuts, oh shit, oh, everybody be like, you're different. And it's like, I was medicated for ADHD fucking D when I was 5. Oh. My parents were like, stop running in circles at 99 miles per hour. We're going to give you up for adoption. And then they were like, meds. And then they were like, this child doesn't sleep. Can you give it drugs? And then I got diagnosed with fucking insomnia at 7, more meds. So I love Shea Gorath because my whole life it's just been people pointing and being like, crazy, crazy, crazy bitch, crazy, you're fucking right. All right. And I've been like, oh man, no, I'm not. And that was the, the previous me trying to do my best and take everyone's suggestions and be the best that I can be. And then I started just not caring. Like I hit 30, right? And I was just like, through my entire day to day. And my life got so much better. Dude, everything's been going my way since I didn't give a fuck. It's the craziest thing in the world. It's great. And that's part of the reason I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready for LFC. As soon as you followed me, I was like, wait a minute. That's a fucking sign. Because as soon as you followed me, it was literally the day after I was just talking to my best friend. Like, you remember that LFC show I was talking about? I think I might actually hit them up. And then you followed me. And I was like, okay, obviously this is meant to be.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about it too, as well. And I mean, it's what I'm doing with the TikToks, the Twitters, and the Instagrams now on that front, which is what I'm running at. I mean, like getting to see a lot of great people in the fans and people that want to do LFC, and I love it. And I know Sean, the LFC CEO, loves it. Shout out to Sean. It's one of those things too, as well. It's so much complimentary, and it's so much people that really want to work hard, do the work, and put it in, and get involved with LFC. So I'm glad that that follow happened, and I think the universe tends to unfold as it should. So everything kind of coincides. Miss Farah Fatherless. So yeah, now we're here and it's a beautiful thing. Definitely. Quite happy about it. So as far as gaming goes, can I ask like what you're into and whether or not that means you could be my carry? Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I'm not like as deep as you are, but I do respect the game and the craft because I've had a lot of similar friends like yourself who have done that, the Skyrims and stuff. But me, I was mostly like, you give me a good like basketball game like the NBA Ballers, or give me like a wrestling game or what have you, give me some Grand Theft Auto. It mixes. It's like my taste with music. I'm very eclectic. It's a variety. You put a game in, if I like it, cool. If not, I'll go on to something else. So for me, I'll do it. But I mean, I like the old nostalgia stuff. You know what I'm saying? Give me something simple, like something on a PS2, bada bing, bada boom, and I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Did you play all the old light gun games? I did back in the day. Yes. Fuck yes. Okay. I was into that stuff. I was into like a lot of racing games. Like I said, my mix varies. You know what I'm saying? I don't stick to one. I go in different avenues. You got to explore. You got to get that variety going, Touch all the games in their privatest places. That's my theory. I've broken fucking so many games. I have made games crash my actual console and my PC. I have fried devices. Like fucking, the game isn't supposed to do that. Games can do that to your shit. Did you know that? I was aware of. I've had actually a few friends that have had crashing games. I'm aware. I'm well aware. I love to break games. It's my jam. I want to see how far I can push it, and you would be amazed to see
some seriously fucking asinine shit that has occurred, and especially in Minecraft, dude, because the things that can go wrong in that game can go wrong in ways that you never thought possible. And I love to make them go wrong and then like figure out how to use what's going wrong to my advantage. So that's like my favorite thing. Most of my videos have been just like really weird hacks and tricks that I'm pretty sure other people didn't think of. And Skyrim, so the madness obviously in the Sheogorath thing, man, I fried Skyrim in a way that like I wish I could like had a recording. It was nuts. So I was in the middle of a quest in what's called the Thieves Guild, and because of these mods, I had made a mod list and it was working really well until an update. And I didn't think about like, oh, there was an update. I need to like redo my mod order. For some reason, it just didn't want to. I guess my brain was like, we don't want to spend hours on that. Crash the game.
Oh my goodness.
So I even had it like doing an entire sound thing where it sounded like a legitimate fax machine, and there was like it was unplayable and corrupted all of my game files. So no matter what I did and how far back in my saves I went, it sounded like because you're not supposed to have all those mods on a console. But I made it work.
Nah, and I think what I dig about it too is as well, and you sound something that's very imperative. Like everybody talks about the uniqueness and weirdness, like, and I think with you, and I say this with the utmost sincerity and respect to you, it's like a good weird because it's like, you know what, I'm very eclectic, I'm very eccentric, and I'm unique. There's always that good weird to it. It's like talking to you and really exploring every different avenue with you. And so you got that good weird vibes about you, Farah. You got the good weird vibes.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. My whole life I've heard the words, you're just too much.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And I used to try to hide that because I took it seriously. And then you know what I realized? You fuckers are all here to be fucking entertained. So I'm sure you love it anyway.
Absolutely.
Seems to be working out.
Absolutely. And that's what's great about the LFC, the entertainment side of things. And I mean, we were talking like very briefly here about like what you're thinking about wearing with your debut. Now, there's so many things that people could wear, from the leather and lace, maybe a little add a goth little style to add a little your own uniqueness. So what are you thinking lingerie style, man, for your LFC debut when that does occur? And what are you thinking about repping? You know, the entrance is also the best representation of the presentation. What are you thinking lingerie wise, Miss Farah?
So it will probably change a lot. Is it okay to like change, or do I have to have like the same? I've seen a lot of different outfits on like Jolene, my I can't say that out loud now because it's becoming real life. Hold on.
Yeah,
My
waifu. Jolene,
sorry, huge fan. Yeah. I hope she sees this. My God. I was like hoping, you know, maybe one day she'll punch me in the face and then we can go get coffee.
For those who don't, right. So Jolene the Valkyrie Hex, who has all the belts. She's the LFC European champ, the world champ, and has the chain around her neck, the booty camp champ chain. So, I mean, hey, you're in good company with Jolene Hex. So I feel you. One of the most beautiful women out there in the place to be.
I was really sad when I went on OnlyFans and kept repeatedly typing her name every once in a while and just nothing came up. I'm waiting. I'm here. I'm waiting to be your number one simp.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And I'm sure she'll appreciate that. I'll definitely send her this clip. But
guys, dude, it's her and there's two other girls that I really want to see on OnlyFans, but there's only one of my favorite women in the world who's on OnlyFans, and it's Belle Delphine.
Oh,
and I've been stalking her OnlyFans and simping for her for $30 a month for like 4 years.
And you see, there's nothing wrong with that because, I mean, we all have our simping moments, to put it like that. There's a coin term, our simping moments. There's a lot of beautiful ladies. There's a lot of beautiful people doing their thing on OnlyFans, man. That's what it is. We got a lot of beautiful people doing their damn thing and all their crafts and endeavors. So I feel you. We all got to be on them simping vibes.
Definitely. Well, you know, especially me being like a part of the culture that simps the most. Like, weebs are okay with being simps. We've just kind of learned to accept that we're a bunch of little lonely soft hearts that fuck around, masturbate, and watch anime, don't have a girlfriend, but pretty much love every woman in the world.
Hey,
and we've accepted that we're going to just choose the prettiest ones and simp for them because that makes us happy. Fuck it. And I'm a nerd, and I understand that fully. Like, I spend a lot of my time in the chat room like a sad little dork, but dude, those girls pay attention to me for my money, and I love it.
Well, you're preaching to the choir here as a fellow nerd in his own right. Nerds rule the world, man. You know, the nerds rule the world, huh?
We do. I literally go into my cam zone and I'll make a bunch of money and go spend it on Purple Bitch. Your guys' money goes to Purple Bitch and Telltale Feed.
I love it. No, I think that's what's great about it too is as well. And I mean, I think you can agree with me on this point. Like we've talked about, like sexiness comes in many different layers, whether it be confidence, swag, internal, external beauty. I think what I love about LFC and what I love about everything with beautiful women just in general, I think one of the main things about it, we talk about the uniqueness and preferences and the different imageries that makes everybody beautiful. Like your style and how you do your thing also kind of complements everybody's style, because we talk about the genre and the uniqueness and the subset, like the anime, and I'll say this with the utmost respect, some of the best diehards like yourself and many people, there's such a great avenue for like the Comic-Cons and many different avenues for the nerdy but type like cool vibes to it. And like really it's very rewarding, it's very accommodating, it's very open arms within that community.
Dude, absolutely. Because before we were being celebrated, like we have been in the last year and a half from the big anime boom, thank God for TikTok. We got beat up for wearing Dragon Ball Z t-shirts to school. Like you remember the 90s, right?
Oh yeah, I'm born in the 90s, 92.
I got 2 of my ribs broken just because I wore a Dragon Ball Z t-shirt to school. It was something for somebody to latch on to.
What the fuck?
And then they called me Iron Ribs because I guess the guy that hit me in the ribs also sprained his wrist from hitting me so hard. So that's really funny. Little bitch. But that is actually how I got into martial arts. That is the moment that my dad was like, God damn it, Taekwondo. Here goes more money. She's a problem child.
But
there's that.
Well, that's the experience right there, Farah. Like, I mean, you have that experience as a child, then you get right into mixed martial arts and the martial arts side of things, and now you know how to defend yourself, and you use your craft for good, man.
Yeah, dude, because I was never going to stop selling Pokemon cards to these fuckers for their lunch money, just because someone had a problem with it or any other nerdy thing I'm doing. The first business I ever started when I was 19 years old, I owned a comic book shop in Oklahoma, and it was called The Laughing Dragon. And I bought it from this guy named Don Hyde, who ended up actually still having a key and robbing the entire store. And like the FBI had to like get a hold of me. And like it was on a Sunday when I was closed. It was fucking nuts. That's probably a story for another time. But I ran this like nerd shop, and it was like my whole entire thing. And I love it so much. The cosplay aspect that you were just talking about. When I started in that comic book shop, a lot of the girls that would come in, there was like a handful of teenagers who really were into cosplay. Not all of the girls, but a handful of them, a specific group. And they were kind of the only girls that would come in. I'm sure that doesn't surprise anyone. But they're the ones that got me into cosplay. And I wanted to like really have a good experience with that. Unfortunately, I had problems from like the beating up people for Dragon Ball Z t-shirt type fuckers that just don't understand anyone other than Jesus, our Lord and fucking Savior. Pardon my fucking language. I'm so sorry. It just happens like that when the Satan comes out of me. I mean the wine. And this woman one time came at me pretty hard at my comic book shop from across the street. She was a business owner. And she would be real crazy about the weird people I would have coming in and out of there, which is the judgment that all nerds have always gotten. Weird, awkward, unusual, strange, acting suspicious. Yeah, because we're tucked up and freaked the fuck out, bitch. That's why our community has been so accepting. And that's why it's really easy to come into the anime community and the nerd community, because it was actually founded by dorks who wanted to write manga in their room away from all the rest of these fucking hyenas. So that's where I stand with it too. And that's what brought me in. And those girls kind of dragged me into cosplay too. And it gave me such an outlet. It was the best time of my life. And I've actually been thinking about reopening another Laughing Dragon at some point.
I think you should. And I mean, like, and it's funny too, because like I was raised Catholic and I'm Catholic, but I don't go, I always thought about it with the religious side of thing. And again, I love my family and I love God and everything. And I talk about it, but I don't put my beliefs onto other people. So I'm right there with you. Cause then there's people that go over
I go to church, but right. Yeah, you saw how mad I just got even thinking fucking oof.
It's ridiculous that stance, but what I also look at it from a stance too as well, like you're talking about like it's what it's founded upon, the foundation, so to speak. Like there's a foundation with everything, but what I love too about that is like we're in a community now where, like you said, it was like you were shunned. Like I remember in high school, I hung out with friends that played Magic the Gathering. That was like a big thing. Like
oh my god, do you still play? Fuck.
I think I may have some old cards. If I don't, I'll definitely have to get some new ones. But yes, I do remember.
against my sliver deck.
There you go. That was the big thing in high school. I had a lot of friends and we played Magic the Gathering a little bit. I get it.
I have the door to nothingness. Fuck with it.
Well, no.
I was so happy to have that card before it got banned in tournaments, dude. Once it got banned in tournaments, now every time I see it in my deck, I just kind of like a little silent tear comes. And I'm like, man, the ultimate win. And if anybody who doesn't play Magic the Gathering doesn't know, before it was banned in tournaments, it was a fucking crisis card because you could have that card come out and you can only have up to 4 of a card copy. Obviously, it was one of the rarest cards in Magic the Gathering, so of course I only had 1, and I don't even know how the fuck I got that. But luck is on my side all the time. It's like a freaking miracle. But I got this card, and if you get 2 of each color of mana, or as many as it will take depending on the time in which this happens in Magic the Gathering, colorless mana or prismatic mana, which I was a smart mastered, and I had a Gem Hide Sliver. I had 4 of them in my deck, which gives me a bunch of colorless mana depending on how much mana I have on the field, and all of my mana were prismatics. So I didn't fuck around with lands and all that shit. And I had a pure Sliver deck, which if anybody knows what that is, it's pretty nuts. So when I would start just building mana, I could throw out anything I wanted, and I would never have an issue. It was almost like having unlimited mana once the Gem Hide Sliver came out. And really easy on mana beforehand. And this card, when it would come out, it literally says, eliminates player of your choice.
Oh, well, see, I love that too. And I think a lot of people don't realize that with the Magic the Gathering style things. And what I also loved about that in high school too, like, you know, it's so interesting. Like you talk about the Dragon Ball Z type of stuff. Like everybody can even look back to the 80s with the Dungeons and Dragons days. It's one of those things too as well. It's very popular, has that fantasy base. And I mean, people that would make fun of you, first of all, fuck them. And number 2, it's one of those things too as well.
Elf Shadow Row.
There you go. And it just showcases a lot of people that in different communities and different subsets, and like we mentioned. But what I love that too as well is it's just people being themselves, having a good time, forming your own circle, and you have your own little clique. And that's what it's about, man. It's the bond, if you will. It's the vibe and the bonds.
I think you just froze.
Oh no, I said it was the vibe and the bonds.
Oh, it stopped there. It cut so clear that I thought it was so quiet, I thought the transmission ended. That's a really good microphone. Does it have noise cancellation?
No, that's a snowball right here. I got a blue snowball up in here, man. Nice and clear, bada bing, bada boom. But yeah.
It's
like,
very nice. Very nice. Do you want to see my favorite Dragon Ball Z piece?
Hit me.
All right. This is gonna make you really happy.
Okay.
Into my Pokemon box of memorabilia we go. My Pokemon cereal that I couldn't get rid of the box. It's fucking Pika!
Nice.
So we got a bunch of stuff I'm not going to explain. Pieces of cosplay. Some things I will explain.
Okay.
I make cosplay pieces too if anybody wants custom. Well, that was fucking embarrassing. That was a lot like when Elon Musk shattered the window testing the Tesla truck bulletproof windows. We'll just ignore that moment. Moving on. All right. And then the first arm guard I ever had for my first cage match. Mm-hmm. Some girls with big tits gave me a rock at a Renaissance fair. And the most important things are in here with my god, Stan Lee.
Yep.
My god, Stan Lee. Yeah. So then I have Broly's autograph.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Vic Mignogna, the voice of Broly in Dragon Ball Z, I have his autograph. I stood in his line for like 2 days in the Bakersfield sun to get this. Uh-huh. And it was so hot that the saddest part is that the edges of his autograph are kind of smudged and I need to get back in London to get it fixed. This is one of the most important things that I have as far as like Nerd World memorabilia. Also, in case you didn't know, this picture is from when he played Captain Kirk in Star Trek. Obviously, Star Trek Continues, the YouTube series. Please check it out. It's free. It's amazing. It is so amazing. I can't believe it's not canon. It's one of my favorites. The idea that it could end made me like upset. And it feels like such a continuation of the original series. It's so well done. So that's my favorite Dragon Ball Z memorabilia.
I love it. I mean,
and what's crazy about that is that Broly, the man who plays Broly, actually got me this.
Wow, I like that.
It was really cool. So I, kind of am like a huge fan of his and definitely wanted to help him out in the future with anything he needed help with. So this was like a symbol of our friendship of the future, and it was very cool, or whatever. Very cool times when your idols actually like support your nerding.
Well, that's the thing too. I think some people say, don't meet your heroes, but in this particular circumstance, you met your heroes and you get the autograph, you get the stamp of approval, so to speak, and you get to really, really see what they appreciate, that what you like and what they've done. It's leaving a legacy, man, and you're also passing that on to generation to generation. It's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. He's one of the best voice actors out there, so it was really cool, and I've actually like watched him interact at a bunch of conventions with his fans, and to be honest, he's literally the best I've ever seen anybody ever treat their fan base. Like, he's all about his fans, and he has his own fan club, the Reasonable Rangers, and it's fucking awesome, and you guys should go check that out too. He has voiced like all of my favorite animes. Do you remember, have you seen Full Metal Alchemist?
I've heard of it, but it's something I have to check out. But I've heard the name, yes.
Amazing. It's amazing. It has the most riveting scene in all of anime. This scene is so intense, it gave me 2 nightmares in my life.
Really?
2. And he plays the main character in that series. And then he's also in like Naruto. And he's in One Piece, Bleach. Like, he's literally in everything. He's so cool.
And I really like doing voice work too. So he has obviously caught my interest.
Very, very nice. And I will say this: I cannot wait to see what you do in the LFC, the Lingerie Fighting Championships. And I do actually have, because Farah, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to put the overture here. Anytime you want to come back for a round 2, I'd love to have you. It's really been great, really, to like pick your brain, talk about some gaming, and really showcase the cosplay that we see on screen and what you do. Like I said, I love what you do, and you put out a lot of great quality content, my friend.
Yeah, dude, definitely. I've got some pretty awesome prowess in the ring. So I don't like bragging, but that's as far as I've ever taken it, is saying I've got some awesome prowess in the ring. I can definitely attribute my dad and like the situation with the Dragon Ball Z shirt to that. Like, that is why. I hope that I can earn the respect eventually over time. Like, I probably don't know as much as I think I do, I'm sure. And I can't wait to be taught things by, like, they say don't meet your idols, but I cannot wait to meet Jolene and to be taught things by her and several other girls that I'm pretty interested in. Obviously, you've seen some of my favorites already.
Yep.
And learning from them is nice. And I don't know that I'm going to beat everybody coming in or whatever else, but I know that they're definitely going to be pretty entertained fighting with me.
I think we're going to see great bouts, and I think we're going to see a lot of great faces such as yourself come in. It's LFC 37 Back to the Mansion coming in November.
But I'm definitely going to do my best to win.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely. I mean,
I'm sorry in advance. I love you all.
We all love you too. And I mean, it's going to be great to see you get to pick your brains from many different fighters, many of the coaches, such as Coach Leon Hayter and Coach Joel Kane and Coach Audrey. There's so many great people involved in the Lingerie Fighting Championships community. And I always love asking this question as well before we close out, and I have you promote the socials where everybody can find you. I have to ask you this question because one thing I'm big on is the beauty, strength, and dominance moniker. It's something that I'm very, very big into. The beauty, strength, and dominance, 3 key elements that make women the work of art that they are. So I'm going to ask you, Miss Farah Fatherless, what does beauty, strength, and dominance mean to Farah, being such an empowering force, an empowering figure, and woman such as yourself?
Never say yes unless you want to.
All right. Yes, beautifully said, eloquently said, straight to the point. I love you, Farah Fatherless. My goodness gracious. So
I love you, Larkin.
Thank you so much. Before we close this out, please promote. You got TikTok, you got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got the OnlyFans. Where can people follow you on all forms of social media?
I do. Everything is Farah Fatherless. You can find my happily, humbly trashy ass anywhere on the internet. Consider my entire existence satire, because that's what it is to me. Because I don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck. And I want you guys to be able to not give a fuck with me and enjoy this life, because you know what, motherfuckers? One day you're gonna fucking die. And this is the only chance you get. So stick your fucking tongue out, put your fucking devil horns up, take your bottle of wine to the fucking interview, cuss a bunch. Who gives a fuck? Live your fucking life, your best life, and take an example from these women. Beauty, strength, and dominance. Look, please dominate me. I can't even fucking say the word right. Obviously, I need to learn some things. But take a note out of their pages. These girls are living their fucking life. They're living their dream life, and I think that's really cool. And I look up to them and respect them. And this is so cool to be able to do this and to be able to watch these girls and then actually be able to participate in the magic that they make happen for fans and for the ring and in their fighting. They're so fierce. These girls are so fierce. It's beautiful to watch. It's really a lot like a bloody ballet that I love so much.
Well, I love you, Miss Farah Fatherless, and we get to see I love a lot of the LFC ladies. LFC is an amazing product. It's a little bit of MMA, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of clothing. Check out lfcfights.com for more information. Go to the LFC network on Roku, where you can watch this podcast, Get Wet, starring Audrey Monique and Terry Feisty of London. So many great content provided to you by LFC. And I will say this, folks, go out of your way, follow Farah Fatherless on all forms of social media. Links in the description. And folks, to close this out, as I always say, beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. DGAF, don't give a fuck. Beauty, strength, and dominance. Do what you do, Farah Fatherless. I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Follow my Pornhub so you can fuck off.
Ah.